Welcome back to the second part of our introduction to Trustworthy AI. In this unit, we want to take a closer look at trustworthiness, and we have already learned that trustworthiness is something that consists of properties that the trustee has or that the human truster believes that the trustee has, at least. And the question is, what are these properties? To do so, we will particularly take a look at the European perspective based on the documents by the European Union. We will also make a short comparison of that with the equivalent guidelines coming from the US side. Probably the best resource for understanding trustworthy AI, for understanding the basic principles and what it means, is the so-called high-level expert group report on trustworthy AI by the European Commission. And this is the definitive resource that we will be using in this unit for defining what are the main aspects of trustworthy AI. It has several definitions, something like a glossary for key concepts similar to what we have discussed already about trust and trustworthiness. And it also has a set of guidelines for building trustworthy AI systems, resulting from a large-scale discussion process of experts in the EU who have come together and created this joint document through a process of feedback cycles and iterations. In the AI high-level expert group report, trustworthy AI is defined as being consisting of three components. A trustworthy AI should be lawful, it should be ethical, and it should be robust. This sounds at the first glance very, very obvious and evident, but it's not at all easy. For instance, we're talking about the moving target here. Lawful, complying with laws and regulations, means that what we're aiming for may change. Laws and regulations change, and so does a definition that depends on the lawfulness. Also, laws and regulations are a regional topic that may vary across different countries, across different continents. In a similar way, ethical, if you look at principles and values, these principles and values can be different across different cultures. Intrinsically, there is also tensions in this definition. For instance, it sounds completely convincing that the trustworthy AI should be lawful, but sometimes breaking the law may be beneficial, may be making sense if we look at the overall intention to not cause harm at values like valuing human life. For instance, think of a scenario with autonomous driving or something like that. In some situation, crossing a double solid line, which you are normally not allowed to do by law, may make sense in order to avoid a crash with potentially catastrophic consequences. Robustness, also quite obvious, but the important point is here that good intentions are not enough. A system needs to ensure, it needs to demonstrate that in unforeseen situation, it still behaves in a way that does not cause harm, not only from the technical perspective, but also from the social perspective, from the impact on society. And all of these three main components apply not only to the AI system, the technical artifact, but, and that's the key point here, I underlined it, to all processes and actors that are involved in the AI system's lifecycle. So to the way that is being developed and operated, to the organizations that are developing it, that are deploying it, to the developers, and everyone involved in the entire AI system lifecycle, not only the system itself. So we have established that a trustworthy AI system needs to be lawful, ethical, and robust. But the question is how to achieve these three objectives, how to operationalize the three of them. The ethics guidelines for trustworthy AI provided by the high-level expert group provides us some guidance by defining the 7 key requirements of trustworthy AI that you see listed in this slide. To be lawful, ethical, and robust, an AI system needs to maintain human agency and provide human oversight. It has to be technically robust and safe. It needs to address privacy and data governance. It has to provide transparency about the way it works. It needs to ensure the diversity and fairness and avoid any form of discrimination. It has to take into account the well-being, the potential impacts of the solution on the environment or the society, and there needs to be some form of accountability. These 7 requirements basically describe properties, characteristics of the trustworthy AI system and the way that it is operated. And for that reason, there are the 7 key challenges that you need to address, that you need to master when trying to make your trustworthy AI, when trying to make your AI system trustworthy. In traditional software engineering, we try to keep requirements as independent as possible. This is not the case for the 7 requirements that you see here. They are all strongly interlinked with each other. They interact with each other, and also the numbering from 1 to 7 does not imply any priority. So all of them are of equal importance and are related to each other. They need to be implemented and also continuously monitored, assessed throughout the entire life cycle of an AI system. For the developers, for the engineers of the system, that means the requirements need to be implemented and applied to the design of the system and the development processes. For the parties deploying an AI system, it means that they need to ensure that the AI system and the way it is used in any software product or service meet the requirements, and they need to continuously monitor them throughout the system's operation. And for end users and the society as a whole, it means that they need to be aware, they need to be informed about the requirements, and there needs to be a possibility that they can request that these requirements are actually met. So now that you have learned about the 7 key requirements for trustworthy AI and the corresponding challenges, you may ask yourself, what is it useful for? How can I actually use these as a developer, as a creator of an AI system? And this is where the Altai list is coming into play. The Altai list stands for Assessment List for Trustworthy Artificial Intelligence, and it is derived from the High-Level Expert Group report. Basically, the Altai list is an operationalization of the 7 key requirements and their challenges, consisting of concrete questions that will help you self-assess your AI-based solution, your AI system. And there is also an online tool available for that. Europe is not the only region that has a strong interest in trustworthy AI. So for comparison, let's take a quick look at the United States. Here we have the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, AI RMF, as a kind of equivalent counterpart to the high-level expert group report. Just like the high-level expert group report, it was also the result of a multi-stakeholder consensus-driven process that consists of public workshops, requests for information, various drafts until 2023, and it is aggregating the contributions of hundreds of contributors from government agencies, industry, leaders, academic institutions, civil society organizations, and so on, finally released in 2023. And it also keeps continuously being updated, for instance, including the generative AI profile in 2024. The trustworthy AI is defined in terms of 7 characteristics, where you see a lot of overlap, but also a slightly different focus. Shown on this slide, trustworthy AI needs to be valid and reliable, needs to be safe, needs to be secure and resilient, needs to be accountable and transparent. Trustworthy AI needs to be explainable and interpretable, privacy enhanced, and fair with harmful bias managed. A slightly different focus, apart from these characteristics, also is on how to use the framework. So it is a resource for AI risk management, and it outlines a process of 4 stages, 4 steps: govern, map, measure, and manage. The risk management framework by NIST is a voluntary framework. Similarly, the EU high-level expert group report itself is non-binding, but it has, of course, led to or strongly influenced the legislation of the European Union's AI Act. The NIST document is clearly a risk-based approach, or following a risk-based approach, whereas the high-level expert group report is more a principle-based framework that is rooted in fundamental human rights and human dignity. NIST puts a lot of emphasis on the risk management, as you can see by this process, and in the high-level expert group report you have a stronger emphasis on human agency, human oversight, and ethical governance.